Caleb with A Safe Landing Counseling Services. This is a Christian perspective in counseling. I'm trying to bring a Christian perspective of what it means to see Christ in the healing process for emotional health, binding the brokenhearted. So here's something that I want to talk about when we get into a healing process. I did a little bit of conversation about hope, so I'm going to expand on that a little bit more. Hope is so important for a futuristic perspective. It's something that we look forward to. It's not necessarily past. We have peace with the past, but we have a hope for the future. So when we have hope, sometimes we think about going into counseling for a healing process. And I have a lot of people come in and they're looking for healing. Now, they want things to get better. That's kind of an interesting term in itself, getting better. Usually I ask, what do people mean by better? And so they may say, hey, we need better communication skills, or I want to feel better, I don't want to feel depressed, or this or that. Oftentimes when we say better, we're referring to a numbness. I don't want to feel. Well, counseling doesn't necessarily help with numbness. That might be more the psychiatry. However, with counseling, what we're trying to do is help people heal. Now, healing's something that can be very complex and complicated. When we think of healing, we think of something, a pain, being where there's pain in the body, that place being restored, okay? So something that a Christian counselor does when we bring God into the setting, we're not necessarily making things better right away. And if you've been to counseling before, you probably heard the phrase, things get harder before they get better, okay? They may get worse before they get better. Well, that's accurate in a lot of ways, is because when we step out and we're trying to change something, the entire system that we're encountering starts to get disturbed. And so maybe relationships change because a person's doing work on themselves that's making them think, am I interacting with these relationships well? Do I need to change the way I approach them? Well, oftentimes they do, and when they change those dynamics, the relationship changes, and the other person says, wait a minute, what are you doing? Why are you changing these things? We were just fine before. Well, apparently not, and that's why this person's needing to make those growth changes. Or if an event happens, it changes the system, and then more than just one person's affected, more people have to work through that to retain those relationships. So when we do Christian counseling and we invite God into a situation, He doesn't always make things better per se, but He does make them deeper. So people oftentimes will come in and say, I never knew our marriage could be like this. I never knew that we could go this deep. I didn't think we could have this much vulnerability in our relationship and in the dynamics that we have with our friends, or I didn't know that I had these places in me. When we go deeper, oftentimes there can be more peace, there can be more hope. Now, hope is the important part here, because deeper relationships and deeper feelings of who we are, sense of who we are and identity, gives us the opportunity to look for more hope in the future. We have more skills, we have more resources available because we see the depth of who we are. Now, we can always go deeper. Going deeper is an important part of becoming fully alive. Now, Jesus says in John chapter 10, I have come that you would have life and life to the fullest. So fully alive oftentimes is this place where we understand more about who we are, our identity. We experience more of God within us, and we go to deeper places about the inclinations of our heart. Now, most people don't know, in my opinion, when I see people, and even if I have conversations with people outside of my office, most people don't know the depths of their heart, and they don't know the desires of their relationships or the desires of their heart. They say, I want something different, I want something this way, but they can't define it. And so as we go deeper with God, as we go deeper in a Christian perspective of counseling, oftentimes things get better over time. Now, better is not necessarily that feeling of, let's go back to the way it was. That doesn't happen in counseling typically. Usually it goes forward with a new experience and saying, what I've experienced in the past has changed me and has given me a deeper aspect of who I am. And I will grow into that in the future. So guys, I hope this is helpful. It is important for identity work. It's also important for hope, that we understand as we go deeper, there's more life. And so I hope that you hear from God and experience his love within you. And maybe we'll talk more about hope in the future and what it means to have a full heart of hope. Have a wonderful day.